Yes, folks. Hello and welcome along once again to the Left Wing Back Show. In association with Feck All Nobody at the moment. So if you want to help us out with a bit of sponsorship, you can get in touch with us via social media. Send us a DM or you can send us an email, leftwingbackpodcast@gmail.com. It doesn't cost the world, but it does help us and keep putting out a bit of content. And we do have listeners and viewers in the regions of thousands. So if you want to get in touch, show us a bit of support or whatever, have a bit of appreciation for what we're doing here. Do get in touch with us. What have we got coming up on the program, you might ask? Well, plenty's coming up on the program. We saw a good few games over the weekend between us. I saw more over last weekend, I think, than I did over the previous two, just with different things going on. But nice to be back in Cullen Park. Nice to be out in Ballinabola yesterday, and plenty of good games to look forward to this weekend as well. Here to dissect it is Mr. Tommy Wogan. How are you doing, Tom?
Hi, Kev. How are you?
Flying it now. And Christy Bolger. How's things, Chris?
Evening. How are you all?
Good stuff. Good to have you on, lads. We have Nolan join us later as well, I think. I think it could be something to do with chicken filler rolls. We'll more on that later. But anyway, lads, look, plenty to get through, as we said. Tom, we're going to kick things off straight by talking about the senior games in Cullen Park on Saturday evening. So we had Rathvilly and Ballinabrana first of all, and then of course after that we had O'Loughlin and Bindlestown. So for about 3/4 of Rathvilly and Ballinabrana, I was thinking, geez, this prediction's fairly solid. Rathvilly are winning it, but there's not a whole lot in it. But in the end, it finished 2-10-7. What did you think of it in general?
Yeah, well, the score didn't do it Ballinabrana justice. I was very impressed with Ballinabrana in the first half. I thought they played some good football. Possibly, they're passing to the forward line, the ball going to the forward line they're probably releasing it too early, and it was hopping over their heads, mistiming the runs and that, and they need to get that right, but I felt at times they opened up Rathvilly. They got a running game at Rathvilly there a few times, and they should have capitalised on it. But yeah, I was impressed with them. The way they were playing, I liked it. It's just that the final pass was just going astray, and that hurt them. That hurt them dearly. And then the sending off had a huge bearing on it as well. But Rathvilly were very good. Brian Murphy was excellent. He notched up good scores, so. But Rathvilly, I feel Rathvilly, can't afford to play that way against a stronger team. I felt they left their the back line very exposed to get at it, and I'm sure they'll work on that for the next day,
There's a contradictory statement coming here because, yes, they won by, 9 points. Yes, they kicked wides that were well into double figures.
Yeah, but I think it was 15 in total, I think.
Yeah, which is serious wides. But yeah, Tom, if you look at possession stakes, it's a stupid statement probably to make now in hindsight, but had a team ever to do as little for a 9-point victory? Because, in my opinion, Ballinabrana had so much ball and it was ridiculous turnovers. It was so poor. If it was in a junior game now, you'd be pulling your hair out. I just felt they actually had so much control on the game, even though they were bet well. And yes, as Christy said, that tally of 15 wides, I think you said, Chris. I don't know, it was funny. I was so frustrated for Ballinabrana. I'm not even from there. But they did show they can compete. But again, lads, it's the results business.
Yeah, I agree with you. But look, Rathvilly were probably favourites to win that game. But I felt Ballinabrana. I'm sure they have to be kicking themselves too. With the amount of turnovers they had, and some of them were very unforced turnovers, which is disappointing for them, I'd say.
Literally nobody near them, and from frees, from place balls and everything,
Their ball, some of their ball handling was poor as well. Cost them, especially when they're in scoring positions, they coughed up a lot of ball, which is that's disappointing for them,
Yeah. Now look, as you said, a big bearing on the game was the sending off of Andy Malini, who is a great bit of stuff. He's a big game player. Now, in my opinion, how I saw the initial thing was there was a bit of a tangle with Brendan Murphy, and I felt maybe Andy should have free out in the first place, right? And obviously what happened after that, there's no excuse for it. There was a bit of a tangle on the ground, but I think he got the P45 for a swipe afterwards, which was in front of Billy Fanning. Even though Brendan was cut badly. So I don't know what did or didn't happen on the ground. Obviously something did. But like, could that situation have been avoided if the free out was given?
Yeah, possibly, like, you know, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So in them situations, though, you have to be able to keep your head.
Yeah.
You got to be able to keep your head. You know, I mean, you know, a wise head there. You know, don't get involved. No, I was down the other end, so I can't really say what went on or how it came to that. Like, but it definitely hurt Banner, like, you know, playing the rest of the game and a man down, like, you know, and Rafferty opened it up then, like, you know, and you could see Rafferty were picking off scores easier, but they worked hard, like, you know, they really worked their socks off, but Rafferty just was picking off the scores way too easy, like, you know, and were finding their men a lot easier, like, you know.
Just to finish up on Mullini's point, sorry, Chris, before I jump in, he went over to Billy Fanning straight away after the game and said sorry, which was great to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He accepted. He knew straight away. He's like, I'm after fucking up here. So he went over and apologised.
Yeah, it's just look, that happens. It's a rash moment, like, you know. I mean, sure, you know, the chap didn't. You know, he knew himself. You know, probably walking off the pitch. You know, oh yeah, but he knew himself that he was letting his team down because they were still in it, like, you know. They were still battling away at it, you know.
Jump in there now, Chris. Sorry.
I wasn't going to say anything about the referee, but like, from a player's point of view, you're getting yourself psyched up to get going there all week and to go into the heat of battle. Like, you do make rash decisions. We're all only human. Like, a referee makes a mistake, but like, I think it's so important. Just had a conversation, Stephen, about refereeing. You'd love, like, if, say, the Wicklow situation, the collection situation a few weeks ago, it happened in soccer, it happened in rugby. A referee will go over to a team and say, this is what I expect out of you, this is what you're going to expect out of me. If you cross the line, you'll be sent off, don't be surprised, whatever. There's very kind of little communication. I think if the communication between the refs and the players was a small fraction better, I think both parties would benefit from it. And it's great to see, if it goes over and shakes hands, lads, we're all human, we make mistakes. At least he owned it and he said it was a mistake or whatever. Just like Tommy was saying about the Banlabrana, turning over so much ball. Like, that's the difference between coming up from intermediate, the standard of football that they're playing. Rathvilly are seasoned outfit. They have aspirations every year of reaching a county final, if not winning it, right? Like, and probably Rory going back this week, he's probably doing a bit of a video analysis. There's nothing better than showing lads, because you're powerless on the sideline. Show them in colour. You made this mistake. How are we going to fix it? Because all them little mistakes take the wind out of your sails, take momentum away from you. You're playing right into the hands of the opposition without doing anything like bad. It's just silly mistakes, and the cost in the long run. It's the same when players say, the referee made that wrong decision. The referee didn't make you give up the ball. He didn't make you kick a shite pass into a lad that was unmarked. So, like, while players don't go out to play bad, they have to take ownership as well of what's going on the pitch. And I think that's kind of case in point. Call out the sloppiness. Like, if you want to stay up, you have to kind of just cut out them little mistakes and go at teams. Like, you couldn't fault a work rate or anything like that. It's just it's the small little mistakes that make a big difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly there. And I suppose just to name a few of the standouts, so we mentioned Brian Murphy. Well, yeah, what did we say? 4 or 5 points, I think, from play maybe, and the penalty was stitched very well. Maybe not a dodgy pass in the lead up to it. It has to be pointed out. But anyway, that's where we're at. 2-1 at the first water break, I think, to Rathvilly. 6-4 to Rathvilly at half time. The second water break, I think, might have been 6 points in it. I'm open the correction on that. I put the tweet out there and everything. And then obviously they pushed on a little bit in that last quarter or whatever. So that was the story of that one. So Rathvilly are 3 from 3. You know, motoring well as we would have expected. The most important thing was that, you know, that could have been a banana skin potentially. It really could have, and they pushed on and won, you know, comfortably enough in the end. So the second one then, Tom, I mean, this was always going to be a close encounter. Like, you know,
but that's what I was saying to you last week.
What's that?
That's what I was saying to you last week about the outcome of this game. I went for Baglanstown, but just about, like, you know.
Yeah.
I thought you sat on the fence, Tommy. Will you get over that, will you?
No, Christy, no. I don't sit in the fence. But you know, I mean, it was entertaining. Like, it was up and down the pitch there. You know, it looked like Baglanstown, you know, had that game under control, but Clarkey coming in seemed to steady the ship. He seemed to, you know, he was guiding the guys around him, and he was pushing them on. He was encouraging them to go forward and that, and they seemed to come back into it. And then on top of that, they brought in what's it called? Into the full forward line.
You're talking about young Guider, no?
No, for O'Loughlin.
Oh, sorry, on the other side, Kinsler came on.
James came in, and James seemed to steady it as well, like, you know, and
you're talking about James Clark. Sorry, because Clarkie's on fucking Baglanstown as well.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, James Clark.
Sorry, yeah.
James Clark in the goal for O'Loughlin.
Yeah.
I felt he steadied it down, like, you know, and he got them pushing forward, and I felt like, you know, Baglanstown, it looked like they were going to let it slip, you know, because O'Loughlin came back at them very, very hard, like, you know. Probably rushed it. A few of the kicks that, you know, were just rushed, like, you know.
Now, I don't know. Joe Nolan is sending in a comment to say the following: keep that fence warm for me, Tommy. I'd be saying, Joe, click into the link I sent you there, lad. It might be more than right. But getting back to it, so 9 scores apiece, 189, Baglanstown win it. And for me, the first 4 minutes of the second half literally decided it. So literally straight from the throw in the second half, Ty Roach, the whole middle opened up for him.
Yeah.
Went in through on goal. And I just feel that because he's a natural defender, that might let him down in that position.
He should have gone for it. He just should have pulled the trigger himself.
Yeah, and he blazed. He blazed it. It was bad. It was a bad miss. He should have hit the target. He was that close. But he made the run and he opened them up straight through the middle.
Yeah.
Again, it was still the best option to shoot, right? Because you're saying to yourself, I look for the shooter. You're in on goal, like the 3-man weave thing that we're all familiar with. But the options at the other side weren't the right options. The right thing to do was to shoot, but it just didn't work out. And then a few minutes later, Robbie Kane stuck on away. And like, it was always going to be a massive score in the game, the way it was panning out, Tom, wasn't it?
Yeah. Robbie was very good. Robbie worked extremely hard for them. He was involved in a lot of the good things for Baglanstown. I like his work rate. I like the way he's moving the whole time, like, you know. He finished it lovely. Finished the goal lovely. It was very, very nice, well taken goal, like, you know.
Yeah, and I suppose to put it out there as well, I think by half time, Baglanstown weren't far off in double figures on the wide count. Like, I don't know what they finished up with in terms of wides, to be honest, but they were probably a bit more dominant in the 2-point win, suggests Tom. Like, I mean, they were getting so much shots away. Oh,
yeah. Andrew Beaton got a ball down near me in the corner, and if he got his head up, they had a man free on the opposite side, completely on his own. He just didn't get his head up. Yeah, he didn't get his head up quick enough. Like, you know, if he had it, they were definitely in for a goal. Instead of that, he recycled it and brought it back out again, like, you know. So they had opportunities, definitely, to kill the game, you know.
I felt young Jordan Kelly did a great job in Jamie Clark.
Yes.
Very, very good job. That's not an easy task.
Something tells me, that Jamie wasn't right.
Well, he's just back from an ankle injury. Like, I mean, he had a bad ankle injury with the hurlers and stuff, so maybe he's not.
Yeah, he's not 100%.
Having said that, I wouldn't fancy marking a half with Jamie Clark either. So
no. But I just felt there was something. He wasn't at full tilt at all, like, you know.
And Niall Roach got 2 great blocks in on him actually as well. He dived for him.
Yeah,
he's a great bit of stuff, isn't he? In fairness.
Oh, Niall's terrific. Carried some great ball out that back line for O'Loughlin, right up the middle, like, you know. Good lad, like, you know. Good chat.
I tell you, Tom, one funny one, and I don't know, maybe someone that's in the O'Loughlin camp is looking at this or not, but in the first half, I felt that O'Loughlin's best player was Michael Meany, who was playing a centre back. He swept across that half back line and actually turned over plenty of ball. He's taken off at half time. I don't know. I can only assume it was an injury, but he's playing very well. And you know,
I don't know. I found that one strange, all right, myself.
And then obviously another one, I have to point this out as well. James Nolan was winning so much ball in the first half, a full forward. He was a live wire, like he was out in front and he was making the ball stick for a chap that, he's a small chap, but he's very agile. And he actually came off with 20 minutes to go. And I thought that was a little bit unusual now, just given the fact that he was making a stick. Okay, you have the experience there with Seamus Kinston and Willie Minchin, and maybe you're thinking, that could be a telling factor in the second half. But when it's working, I don't know. I thought it was a big call now.
Yeah. I can't. Barry Hayes, the only one can answer that one. That's the way they went for him. He was doing well. He was. I just feel Loughlin let it slip too. They had chances to
an extent. Like in the last quarter, they did.
Big time.
Any amount of them, and actually, I think I can't remember exactly who it was, but we were in on goal in the last quarter, and it was it Willie had a shot actually. Willie was in on goal, I think, and in fairness, it was a good save, but Seamus Kinston was begging for the ball at the back post.
That's right.
It didn't get to him. We could be talking about a different game altogether. There's one to wish John Ryan well too, actually, Tom. He got an awful belt there at the end of it. Like John went full pelt to go down on the ball, knowing that there was going to be a collision. And it was such a belt, actually, that I can't think of the Banderson chap that he hit, but he hit his knee. The Banderson chap went down, like. John got that impact straight on the skull, and he stood up like his legs were like Deontay Wilder's legs in that fight over the weekend. Like he was, I don't know how he was standing up. I was like, "Jeez, John, sit down." Like, but he got a few stitches anyway, and he's sore. I was actually texting her today to see how he was, or whatever. But that was a fair collision, I have to say. But a good solid championship encounter. Like we just don't typically get big scores in Carlow, do we? Like, I mean, and Chris, I'll bring you in this one because you look over. You were obviously there with Collection this year. The score tallies in general just seem to be that little bit higher, and there always seems to be more forwards over there, like in Laois, isn't there? Like at club level.
Definitely. Like I suppose I was excited to go over there because I had a lot of forwards to work with. Where in Carlow, you probably have 2 or 3 target men at most, and the rest are workers around. Like for me, thinking of Bagenalstown, like say this is the prime example of having a dual club. They did okay in the hurling. They weren't playing a lot of football. I'd say if they've had 2 football challenge games since June, that's it. I think they're only sharpening themselves up. I think like these championship matches can't come quick enough for them. I actually see a semi-final in these if once they just click another 5-10%. But you're right though about the forwards. Like James Dowling, he was always a great talent. He was just caught up with the soccer when say County Minor was on or that. But like you just said, he's such a live wire, and that takes marking. And for young lads as well, they have no fear. Like you're probably better off telling a young lad that it's not, I don't know, a Michael Bramlix is marking you. It's Teddy French. It doesn't matter. Like just go in and do your thing, and that's it. But it's great. It's great to see the young lads getting games. And the only way to develop is by playing them, and that's the same with forwards. Like you don't want to take the creativity away from a forward. You want them to go out and play and express themselves. But if you haven't got that player, it's very hard to manufacture a player like that. Like that's kind of it's in them. It's something that they've worked on through their youth and their childhood, like that kind of creativity, the seeing the pass, and like we said it before, like are some things being pulled aside and being coached, like take a ball in the loop, don't go inside, like hand pass it over, coming in on the end line rather than trying to rock it in the back of the net, because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work. So
how many times you go to look at games, and I looked at a few games over the weekend and the previous weekend, and I seen teams working the ball very well up into the forward line, and you're getting a situation on a 1-on-1, right? And a 1-on-1, where they're not even testing that back. They're not testing the back. They're actually offloading the ball where you could park a bus between the 2 of them, and he's offloading the ball back out the pitch. Now, in my opinion, you're at training. Don't tell me that them same forwards are not taking on their backs in drills, one-on-one situation, taking them on, having a, as you say, Christy, I think it's gone over. It's gone over chaps now as forwards to express themselves. All right, I always encourage a guy because if you don't test the metal in the guy that's picking you up, you're never going to know what's in him.
Tom, it kind of comes. It comes back as well to your first point, say, the sending off in the Ballinabrana game. Like, take it as a compliment if Brendan Murphy's giving you a little niggle. Like, don't get involved. He's at me because maybe he's worried about me. Maybe he knows I'm a good player. He just wants to get in on me and test me. Take that as a compliment. Don't react to it. Like, just take it for what it is. Right, he obviously sees me as a half-decent player. I'm going to take a compliment that and use it to boost yourself to go on and play well in the game. Like,
you take that young lad you're talking about there from Bagmanstown, that's the soccer. I mean,
Loughlin, James Dowling, but there's just loads of.
My first time to see him was there, playing, and I was impressed with him. But I felt there was a lot more in that guy if he's allowed to express himself. And I would say a lot of coaches are probably saying to guys, take it up so far, pass it back out, work it back out again. I firmly believe we need to take the shackles off some of these boys and say to them, look, I'm not saying every time you do it, but at least have one or two in your locker where you say, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to go at this. I'm going to see what's really in this guy. But time and time again, I was looking at a few. I'm not going to mention teams or names, but I see in one particular game where the ball came down into the corner, and the guy never looked at the post. He never looked inside. He never looked at the post. He never looked. He just got the ball and swung it back out again. Now, if I'm a back, I'm saying to myself, well, he's not going to be a threat to me, so I'm not going to bother going near him. He's not going to threaten me. I'd like to see that happen more in games. I'd love to see forwards being given the license. First ball, second ball you get, have a go. See what's in them. Instead of this thing of just passing it back out. It's like robots, pass it A to B, B to C, walk it around, walk it back around again.
Yeah.
It's this the thing we need to encourage forwards to have a go.
It's just the breaking lines, isn't it? Like, you want to see if you're moving the ball lateral, someone has to come onto it at speed and look to break the line and ask questions. It's the same then, Tom, if they're like, if someone receives in the corner, popping it straight back up, like, if you're the opposition, you will give up the sideline. Let them have it.
Yes.
Let them have it, because all they want to do is come back with it. Like,
yeah, I see one chap now in particular, and he's ferocious paced. He is electric. You just don't want to see this guy running at you. And he never once took the guy on. And I mean that now, lads. Not once did he look to take the guy on. He got the ball, and all he was interested in doing is doing his role. I've got to push that ball back out. And never once. He had a one-on-one situation, and I said to myself, if he has a go at this guy, he's going to get in. Like, he never looked at me. You know what I mean? And it's you go back to the club, you go back to training in the club, and you know this, Christy, yourself. You know what I mean? You're in the club there, and you know the guys that's picking you up, and you know you can have a go at him. But then when you come to where it matters the most in a game where there's something at stake, we're not doing it. Like, whether the forwards or players are not encouraged, I don't know. But I'd love to see players. I'd love to see, especially forwards. I'd love to see forwards. Robbie, Captain Bagman.
Robbie Kane, yeah.
Robbie Kane, yeah. He's not afraid of it. What can I call it? Jamie Clark. He's not afraid of it. He'll have a go. He'll have a go. They're two small guys, but there's huge hearts in them, and they're not afraid to have a go.
Huge work rate as well.
Yeah.
It's gas, isn't it? Because, like, say if you're a senior player or an intermediate player or a junior player, like, you train hard and you put on your jersey at the weekend and you go out in front of your own community, the opposition crowd or whatever, you're actually putting yourself in the most vulnerable position because you're open to critique from every Tom, Dick and Harry, every lad on a ditch and on a high stool in a pub. But yeah, what you're training for, you just go into your shell. And why?
Yeah.
Because you're already put yourself out there by donning the jersey and going out and representing your community or your club or your parish. Like, why not just have a bit more of a go? Because in a lot of instances, there's no expectation anyway, bar from within the group or within the club, that like other people looking in and say, sure, they've nothing to lose, they might as well go for it. And I think if some kind of teams took that attitude, geez, they go a long way. Because when you kind of front up and just go at teams, you'll ask a hell of a lot of questions, and then you'll see what they're about.
Well, Kev, I said this before. I mean, for all of as our coaching teams within Carlow, if you do your homework, and what I mean by homework, I mean you're studying the opposition. You're looking for areas where you can expose them. You're looking for areas where you can get at them. And I don't see that. I see teams doing the same thing. They're predictable. You know what they're going to do. You know they're going to bring the ball so far, and then they're going to bring it back out again. And it's so predictable. And you'd be saying to yourself, as a cornerback or halfback, you know he's not going to threaten your space. He's not going to come into your space. So I can have it handy. Like, leave him out there, as Christy said, leave him out there. He's not going to come in. He doesn't want to come in. You know, it's just something I think, you know, I don't see teams encouraging lads, you know.
Yeah. Well, actually, just as you said there, Joe Nolan is joining us. How's things, Joe? Good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, Gav. Thanks, lads.
And Joe, you were just I was texting to see you right there because I could see you in the green room. But you have a point on this that you want to bring up because you were listening very carefully there to the lads.
I was, yeah. No, I agree with the lads. I agree exactly with the lads about what they're saying in terms of forward play and taking chances. But I think sometimes we're hampered by, sometimes in the background we have, now, and don't take this the wrong way or anyone who's listening here, but sometimes we become a bit obsessed with stats and possession. We had 9 possessions of the ball, and well, oh God, he was 100%. We talk about with our kickouts. He won. We were 100% on our kickouts. We're 90% on this, and I think sometimes players are very cognizant of that. And sometimes at half time, and I would have been involved with teams, and I would have done them as well, where you're giving lads some of the stats in terms of, not necessarily, I won't say the one that counts, more importantly, the one who, on the scoreboard, but you're giving them about turnovers, you're giving them about, and lads become, I think, some lads become more in on that. And we tend to do it a lot more in matches. When we're doing something in training, we might say to a lad, geez, you lost the ball there, you got turned over. But in a match, you're telling them, right, you got turned over 3 times. And I think sometimes sometimes we can take the bit of flair out of a lad. And like I said myself, I've been not guilty of it, but I mean, like, I'm involved with teams where we do the very same. But like, say, hurling and football. And I do wonder sometimes, do we overanalyze it? Do we take that little bit of magic out of lads sometimes by
overkill?
Yeah, we are taking it out of them. We're taking the belief out of them that they can actually do it, and expressing themselves. Showing people what they have. Show people what you have. What's in there.
But Tommy, another thing, say you're talking about stats, right? And kickouts is the big one. How many are we getting off the tee? How many wins are we getting, right, of our own kickout? Imagine you were the keeper there that went into a shell after the first bad kick, or someone roaring in. That's 2 now. That's 3 now. You wouldn't have a keeper come the end of it, or his confidence to be shot. A keeper are the most hardy, most mentally tough people on the field, because they might kick 6 bad ones, but they'd land 26 good ones. But people remember the bad ones.
Yeah.
Like, that's a stat in itself. Joe, I totally agree. Kind of, it's the overload and numbers and all that. Where you talk to any player or read any of the rugby lads about getting the water breaks and the water onto the field, players can only retain 2 to 3 little bullet points at any given time. So there's no point in going in saying these facts and figures, because they're only going to retain a third of it. I definitely think no, it's an issue. It's, as you said, it's whatever particular. It's one thing having stats, but it's another thing who's reading the stats and what you're going to do with them. Is it for a Tuesday on the training ground that you go through it? But like, I think you're right. Like, is a lad not making a run in the back line to get a kick out because he's afraid of it, or is he making 20 runs to pick up 10 handy balls? Instead, he should be actually out the field a bit more, creating a bit of space for someone else to come in and get the ball. I think there's a time and a place, but you definitely can't overload a team.
And to bring it back to the point, is a lad not taking his man on in fear of losing the ball in terms of attack? Because that's what we're on about here, to bring it back to the main point.
Yeah, but Kevin, I mean, that's the thing. You know, I mean, okay, you lose the ball. What I'm saying is that, you know, you're not going to get every ball you get. You're going to just drive at the lad. But once or twice, you know, you see, you have a ball. You see what's in this guy. But you go to games, lads, and you'll see for yourselves. You know what the corner forward is going to do. He's going to just get the ball, probably take a tap over it, and then toss it back out, without making any effort to have a go at the cornerback.
But just to put it out there as well, this isn't always in a situation where there's a blanket defence. This is literally in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah.
We're seeing it, and we saw it the other night. So just for anyone out there that's thinking, oh, but sure, there's a blanket, you can't go through it. No, it's actually in a situation where, if you get past them, you're in on goal. So yeah, look, hopefully it changes. Lads, we're going to have to move on from it. I'm sorry now, but just with time and all that. We'll probably segue into this weekend's games, lads, right? Because in terms of senior, because we're still looking back at intermediate and junior. But where that now puts Rathvilly is on 6 points, obviously 3 wins from 3. Bindingstown have only played 2 games. They're on 4 points. And O'Loughlin on 2, haven't played 3 games. Unless Rangers have no points, and neither do Ballinabrana. But this weekend, obviously, where's my fixtures now? O'Loughlin and Ballinabrana are playing anyway, and Bindingstown are playing against Ballinabrana and Bindingstown are playing, and O'Loughlin are playing Rangers, is what I should say. Have this joke opened up here now, and we get the exact fixture details for you, because there's games in the other group as well. But just to summarise this, on Sunday at 4:15 in Netwatch Cullen Park, it is O'Loughlin against the Rangers, and then the other one, just floating back up, show me fixture list. Where is that one going to be? It is, as I said, Bindingstown. There we go. Bindingstown Ballinabrana is on Saturday at 7:15 in Netwatch Cullen Park. So again, like that's a pretty important game, because Chris, you're saying you're expecting Bindingstown to be pushing on and stuff, and yeah, Ballinabrana get a win here, and they're going into an encounter against the Rangers side, who, you know, if they don't get a win against O'Loughlin, it's an interesting one. So we've plenty to look forward to. Like, we've another 2 rounds in this. Funny enough, like, by having 5 teams in one group, it means there's actually 5 rounds. Whereas in the other group, even though there's 4 teams, there's only 3 rounds. So it's just with that bye that each team will have. So permutation-wise, prediction-wise, you're probably sticking with Bindingstown, Chris. I'd imagine you're big enough there. So you don't see Ballinabrana maybe pulling out a big one here.
I think it's going to be an unbelievable game, to be honest, because again, Ballinabrana would target this one rather than the Rathvilly game, I'd say, for a win. But I just feel that, say, with all the hurling that Bindingstown did, I don't think they had a lot of time with the big ball, and I think they're only warming up to getting used to it back in their hands again and scoring with it. So I fancy them this weekend. That's my reasoning.
Right. I think Bindingstown will win this as well. Tommy?
Yeah. I go with Bindingstown.
All right. Joe, straight in for a verdict. You're only in here about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I stick with Bindingstown.
All right. Okay. Unanimous. I saw plenty of Ballinabrana too to make this an interesting enough contest. The other one then. So, like, it is a very important game. Rangers and O'Loughlin have had some great tussles over the last decade, actually. Semi-finals, actually, one year, I remember. I think it was a replay out in Fenna, out in the training centre, and it was a cracker of a game. But there's been many of them. Jesus, Tommy, I don't know. Like, I mean, we saw plenty in O'Loughlin the other night too, to say to yourself, you know, they can get a result here, but Rangers are just an enigma.
You're talking about Rangers, right? And there's one club that has massive heart, and when the chips are down, them boys will come out. They're not going to bow.
They frustrate you. They infuriate me. I'll be honest with you. They infuriate me with the potential they have.
Yeah, they're dangerous. They're a dangerous team. I'd worry about O'Loughlin with that game.
Yeah.
They're in the same situation as Christy pointed out about Bagnallstown. As regards, playing a bit of football, getting Johnny Nevin, I'm sure is getting a lot of football into them now, but he was probably tampered a bit with the hurling, but they're not a bad footballing team. When they get football going down there, they'll give anybody a goal, lads.
You're going Rangers then?
I would, Kevin. Yeah, I would. They're dangerous. They're a big team. They're a big team, and they will cause you problems.
All right, Joe. Who are you going with, Joe?
I'll go the opposite. I think I don't know whether they have enough football done. I think they'll give it everything. I think they might just come up a little bit short. I think maybe their focus. I know Johnny will have them tuned in, but I think their focus mightn't be just there yet. So I'll have to go against them this time.
Chris?
I'm going to go O'Loughlin.
Yeah, I'm going O'Loughlin as well.
I just
Thanks,
think,
Mark. Well
see you, Tom.
done.
I think O'Loughlin, they're mixing plenty of youth with experience, and I said last week I think putting Ty Roach and that up in the forward line has given them a breath of fresh air. He had something different, and if they get the scoring boots on, they'll be hard stopped.
All right, so we'll go over to the other group then in the senior championship. So we've a nice one on Friday, 8:15. This is part of a double header actually with the intermediate quarter final, I think, which will come in a few minutes time. But 8:15 in Edwards Cullen Park Friday, Airog and Tinryland. So a lot of people have this 5 in a row gone out to Airog already. That's the talk like that. Who's going to beat them and who's going to beat them in Leinster? That's honestly the talk, and that's probably a dangerous thing as well. That lads can't be getting carried away. Again, we're talking about enigmas. Like Tinryland infuriate themselves, but they infuriate everyone else in the county too, because you're looking out there, and even I saw their second team yesterday and how strong that was. Like, you're saying, how have you not reached anywhere near your potential? Do you know what I mean? And they bet Airog 2 years ago in a group game, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, if I remember correctly. But again, you'd be asking, are they getting enough out of them? We were talking about stats. Like Chaz had an article there, was it the week before last, when Tinryland played, about all the information that's given to Stephen O'Mara, even at half time and during the game, real time information that's relayed on and passed down. And that's all well and good, but if that's not getting your results, the ask questions, that's, I suppose, the point they'll make. But bring it back to the fixture then itself. If you want to put a bit of colour on, lads, work away. But as a straight up verdict, I still think Airog. Chris, I'll come back to you.
I think Airog, I've seen plenty of Tinryland last year or two, and just if you play O'Loughlin in the morning, you know what O'Loughlin are going to bring and how they're going to set up. If you play Tinryland, could be anyway. I just think Airog will have too much for them. I think Tinryland will leave plenty of space in their back line as well for Airog to exploit.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, Christy absolutely took the words right out of my mouth in terms of Tinryland, in terms of the way they're setting up. I don't know, are they getting maybe I don't like question, I don't know, but there'd be a few strange maybe positional choices. I would think that maybe they're not getting the most out of some lads out there at the minute. I don't know. I can't see them holding Airog. Teams are able to hold them for half an hour, take even in last year's county semi-final, with Rangers, held them for half time, a couple of pints in it, and then Airog just keep pecking and they'll knock that door down, and they have the bench then as well to bring in to make a difference as well. So I can't see past Airog in this one.
Agreement, Tom?
Yeah. Agreement. It's Airog, I think. Tinryland, again, what Joe was saying about some of the positions that they're playing lads in, Paul Bodgick was very deep the last day. Very deep, couldn't understand it. That was a strange one. He was well out the pitch, for a guy that's one of the top scorers, Shane Redmond at midfield, Shane's centre back, full back, that's where his positions are. Midfield, I think he's lost out around middle of the field. You know, so they've been tying with the team a lot too. Like, you know, moving lads around. Like, so I don't know whether Stephen O'Mara knows he's set his best 15 or, you know, in best positions. Like, you know, so I'll go for Aero.
All right, and obviously the other one on Sunday 2:30 is Palatine and O'Hanlon's, and you know it's probably appropriate when we've just mentioned Aero and Palatine. It's a very difficult time for both clubs. We'd like to pass on our deepest sympathies to the Fitzgibbon family and to the Reid family as well. I mean, in a sense, like, all this football talk, it becomes very relevant very quickly when things like this happen, and it's a tough time out there for both those families, and we'd like to acknowledge that on the podcast as well and pass on our deepest sympathies. And you know, as I said, it makes football and everything else very irrelevant. Who knows what can happen any time in life, and we have to absolutely take everything day by day. I think that's one thing that, you know, people really should live by. But I don't even know, you know, football and wise, I'm sure it's still the one thing we go to if something like this happens in the club rallies back around, and there's always a big kind of an eagerness to, you know, look after your buddy that's going through a bad time. And you know, I'm not trying to kind of make that rationable or whatever in relation to football, but it's still a factor this weekend, because it does come back to football a little bit, where if you think you can do something to make someone feel better, and you know, the lads are so invested in football out in Palatine, I think that's a factor in this one this weekend. I think Palatine, when it comes back to football, not that I feel comfortable even talking about that, to be honest with you, but I think Palatine are going to win this one, and I'll keep this one brief. Joe?
Yeah.
Chris?
Agree.
And Tom?
Yeah. Got it.
Pat all around in that one. Okay, so just in terms of the groups, lads, just with that one, like Aero are on 4 points. Tin Island, if they did beat them, would actually potentially have them on head-to-head. Maybe not, maybe not, but Palatine are also on 2 points. The Blues have no points at the moment. So again, you know, it's pretty open, and a lot of things could potentially happen in that. But that is the last round in that particular group over the weekend, so we'll have a clearer picture, whereas with the other group, we have another round of fixtures there, as we were saying. So we'll move on to intermediate then, lads. So, Joe, you were in at both those games on Friday evening. We had Tolo up against the Fighting Cocks. Tolo won that one in the end, and then obviously Fenna had a 5-point victory over Kilbride. So I know you gave us a voice note. We just played the voice note to save you the hassle of saying to us again, but all the listeners didn't hear it. It was only myself and Stevie Bambury. Give us a bit of colour on it.
I'll leave you several voice notes. I won't go through the one about the chicken fillets again. We'll let you know.
Actually, we will come to that in a moment.
All
right. He just couldn't resist. He was like, I mentioned chicken fillets, and that's it.
I know.
What did that shot with the chicken fillets? Go on, grab your combo now. You might as well tell
I moved on.
Right, I'll tell you what happened. Right?
Still sore over.
Pocket's still sore anyway.
In a Centra store, which will remain nameless, Joe got charged $9.30 for 3 chicken fillets. And he's absolutely disgusted
chicken
with
fillets,
this.
Not the rolls now.
Yeah, just chicken fillets. Central Ireland, I think, got in touch with you.
They did. Yeah. The boom is back, apparently. Anyway.
We're looking for a sponsor as well, actually. I won't tell them to trade the expensive chicken fillets back to me.
Yeah, I did.
I'm only cotton, but
I know the games. Yeah, getting back to games. Yeah, the first game was Fenna and Kilbride, and very low score. And I suppose Fenna put up 2 very big scores in the previous 2 matches, and I think Kilbride were very cognizant of that. Like probably hedged their bets a little bit in terms of they were probably looking to keep down the score, because even I suppose even the setup fierce defensively. And you know, like maybe 2 and 3 and 4 sweepers, if you get me, or lads behind the ball, like not directly taking men on, and made it very difficult for Fenna. But I think Fenna needed it. I think it was good for them. I think I suppose last year Fenna had a couple of big wins in the group, and especially against Kildavin Donegal. And then come the semi-final, Kildavin Donegal set up kind of completely different, and it kind of flummoxed Fenna. So in one way, I think by Kilbride doing it probably helped them out, because I probably see teams probably setting up like this to play Fenna. But they eked out a victory, Fenna. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. You're on about taking chances. Like the goal that we got in the game was actually scored by our cornerback. You know, winning the ball at the back and bringing it up the field and taking a chance to push on and get the goal. And I suppose that's one thing Fenna have. You know, they have the lads, young lads there playing, and Christy would have had probably a lot of them in school at school's level there. There's no fear in them. You know what I mean? They know any kind of one style, and it's kind of swashbuckling and it's kind of refreshing to see, but the Kilbride really put it up to them. You weren't probably expecting anything else, to be honest with you. Kilbride, like, really dogged, really, really, I suppose, have played that kind of style before and kind of blunted Fenner's attack. So, yeah, we just about got over the line. Like I said, I think Kilbride were really just playing to keep the score down. I know it sounds terrible, but like even when there was a goal in it with maybe 5 or 6 minutes to play, when they could have broke up the field and got a goal. They didn't. The kickouts were, I wouldn't even say slowed down. They were hardly even nearly taken at one stage. So they were really, I think, thinking about, the result of the other game and how that might, if it came down to score difference, where their position would be. I suppose from a plus and a minus side on both teams there was 2 sendings off in the one instant. Nolan got a red card for kind of a tackle. It was a little bit of a melee or whatever skirmish, but he tackled, brought Sean Murphy to the ground with a tackle, and he got a red card. And then in the ensuing kind of third man in, Owen McDonough got a card as well for Fenna. So they'll be both big losses come their next round, especially Owen as well, a full back, and his brother Pádraig went off as well with an injury. He got an injury to the jaw. I think he got a dunt off Jack Tracy going through and scored. Nothing malicious or anything, just took up a dunt. So for Kilbride to, I know we'll be talking about predictions maybe later, but there'll be a couple of big blows there for Kilbride. You'll be hoping that from their point of view, that they're back right. So that was the first game. Like I said, we kind of Fenna did what they had to do and got over the line. Second game was very entertaining. Very entertaining. The Cox and Tullow. Kind of, we're talking about ebbs and flows. Jesus, like the Cox shot into, got a goal near the start, shot into a 5 or 6 point lead. Tullow came back. You think, right, Tullow are going to eke this one now. They're kind of, they're going to get on top here. Then the Cox came back at him again the second half, and even though it looked like a kind of a comfortable 7-point win for Tullow, with about 3 or 4 minutes to go, it was a draw match, a point to Tullow, and they got 2 late goals. And I suppose I have to compliment what, or maybe go back to what I said about teams going at it. Like Tullow, in fairness, with a minute or 2 to go, didn't hold on to the ball. They actually went, and the goal, the deciding goal, which was the third goal scored by Brian Byrne, it was a thing of beauty. I really was a thing of beauty, and brought the ball all the way up the pitch. And I can't remember who passed the ball across them, but he was kind of inside the 14, and he drilled a great ball across the square. And your man, Brian Byrne, came in like Superman with a diving punch, and punched the ball to the net. Like he was full stretch diving, punched the ball to the net. Deciding goal. Owen O'Toole then came in and I suppose wrapped up. It was a poor kick out by the Fighting Cox goalie. Just went astray, and Tullow had a 2-on-1 inside, and they put it away. Probably on the balance of play, Tullow are a better team. In fairness, the Cox had their homework well done. Like Kieran Nolan was on Jacko Kennedy, and while Jacko hit a point or 2 from play and he hit his frees fairly well, he's kind of, that normal influence that he had in the game was taken maybe away from him. But other lads really stood up for Tullow. I don't want to get his name now wrong. Coming for Gorman, is that right? Gorman coming for Dylan, yeah. Sorry, yeah, Chris, thanks. He was very good wing forward. Brian Byrne was excellent in the corner. Their whole full forward line was excellent. Really, really sharp. They caused a fierce lot of trouble. A different type of game altogether. So open. I mean, like end to end, 50, 60 yards of space in front of full back line sort of thing. Very gung ho. While Tullow will be delighted to win the game and play in that style and have a cut of it. I can't see them going forward the next day against their Rogue. I think it's their Rogue they have. I can't see them setting up like that because I think they'll concede too much the next day against probably a better forward line if they set up that way. So it'll be interesting to see how they set up. And just finally, just a kind of a sad, someone has to go down, but just sad to see the Cox maybe dropping down, and it might be a little, it's kind of a little bit of a worry maybe out there in maybe in terms of football, and pity because they're putting in a savage amount of work into the grounds and stuff like that, and it's just a pity for them to maybe to drop back. But look, someone has to go, and that's the nature of the group. But two different styles of games, definitely two contrasting styles on Friday night there to see.
So that means that Fenna obviously went straight through.
Yeah.
Tolo, finished second in the group on 3 points. Kilbride were then after that there on 2 points, and then the Fighting Cocks dropped down. And Tommy, you were at the games on Sunday then in the other group in intermediate. The game, I suppose. You couldn't get the two at the one time, did you? But you're at Clown-Donegal and Michael. Michael won that one.
Yeah, Michael won
7-6, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and they could have. Killavin could have drawn it as well. They got a free at the end to level it, and Joe Roberts didn't strike it. It went wide, so Michael got out with a point win. But Killavin weren't great now. To be honest with you, I thought they were. I just felt they were sitting back too much, and they invited Michael onto them, and you've John Michael there, around that forward line, he's big man. He's a handful for anybody, But young Scott Tracy was very good. He scored 3 points. John Michael or Enna Kavanagh and Martin Clowry. Martin Clowry got probably the winning point to seal it for them. But it was frustrating for Killavin because Joe Roberts had an off there. He kicked he 4 or 5 wides. He kicked 2 points. Paul Nolan he got 2 frees. He missed 2 frees and he scored a point from player. But I just felt like they were trying to press up high, and their energy was just sapped out of them trying to press, and when you're going to press a team, everybody's got to be tuned in, everybody's got to be on the same wavelength. And if you're 1 or 2 lads off it, Michael just passed the ball through them, and Martin Dyle at centre back. Martin was on their side, he was carrying a lot of ball on them, so yeah, it's a good win for Michael. The bragging right down there now with Michael at the moment. So.
Yeah, it was indeed. Joe, we're going to excuse you. Thanks for joining us. I know you've stuff to do there, so thanks for coming on. All right.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, man. There we go. We're back to the Three Amigos again. So the other game, obviously, Aerogue beat Clonmore. I think it was 1-11-9 in the end. So Clonmore dropped down now as well. Which is mad stuff. I can't remember.
Be disappointed with that.
I can't remember someone told me this sounds ridiculous now. It was either 40 or 70 years that they were either at least intermediate. You know what I mean? It's mad to think that, and I suppose in a way it might bring you back to our other little point from last week. Did we need to be getting rid of teams? Could we have actually promoted another team and relegated no one and went to 10? In a sense. But yeah, there we go. Junior, I tell you now, boys, regardless, you're expecting Grange to come out with Junior. It's not going to be as you won next year. You have the Cox and Clonmore, and you'll be saying to yourself, Grange go, maybe another, you'll be saying, we'll fancy your chances. It's probably nearly a tougher championship now next year, with them 2 teams coming down, But look, it is what it is. Were you talking to anyone from Aerogue about how that went, or lads, or any lies to tell us even about it?
No.
I think they have a new Richie Mann's after taking over and putting the boys through their paces and putting a bit of structure and things. So, hoping to see big improvements.
And sure, look, that was literally a very important game. It was deciding who's staying and who's going, sort of a thing. So it brings us into the fixtures this weekend. We have the quarterfinals in the intermediate and the junior, as we were saying. We're going to talk about the junior in a few moments' time. But that first quarterfinal, as you mentioned briefly earlier, 7:15, Netwatch Cullen Park on Friday. It's Tullow versus Aerogue. So that's going to be a very, very good game. I have to say. Sorry, we just have. I'm bringing this comment first. Declan McCarthy has gotten to us. He's after confirming it. Disaster result for Clonmore. 71 years.
Pete, to love of God.
Back to junior after 71 years. Like so, yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
big
Oh,
stuff. In fairness, for a club that's like Premier League football as well, you know, they'd be disappointed. There's literally no other distraction out there, really, is there? Like, I mean,
serious young talent there. Like after coming through Carlow squads and that the last few years,
minor
as well,
final 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, who knows? It's not all. I know it's shy at the moment, but who knows? I mean, they have a lot of those good young lads coming up, and why can't they come back up? You know what I mean? We've seen that before as well, where nearly the best thing to happen sometimes is actually dropping down because you go up on a high and then go up again. Like Fenna being an example, like they're obviously going to be thereabouts winning this intermediate championship, but it took them ages to go to junior, and we knew once they get up, they were, you know, they could possibly have got a double bounce kind of a thing, you know. So this is the way the whole thing works, lads. But anyway, back to that fixture. Now, that's not an easy one to call because, as we said last week, there's good lads, good experienced lads on the Aero team. There's good chaps in the Aero team. Joe mentioned something about maybe an adjustment being needed from a Tulla point of view, and that maybe they were a little bit open and they mightn't get away with it against their Aero. So to talk about a blind verdict, I don't like doing this because I haven't seen the games or whatever. So you're going, it's nearly like Mystic Meg kind of a thing. In a way, like, I just think Aero. I'm not even going to sugarcoat. I just think Aero for this one. I'm talking to Aero men. I'm not going to have a feeling it's going to be Aero, is it?
I haven't seen either of them playing now, Kevin, like, to be honest with you, so it's a bit unfair of me to judge that one. But
I didn't see him either. You may give us a verdict. That's why we're paying you the big bucks, Tom.
Oh yeah, big bucks there. But it's very hard to get your club, you know.
Yeah.
So, but Tuller coming on too, like, you know. So, but I go for Aero.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to be the same. I think that win against Clonmore is going to bring them on leaps and bounds.
Yep. So that's unanimous. Then we're moving back on to Saturday for the other intermediate quarter-final. Clown-Donegal and Kilbride. Now, like the Nolans are a big factor. Owen being gone and Porrick, obviously by the sound of things, likely to be gone. I think that straightens it up. Even with Kilbride at full tilt, I'm probably still going with Clown-Donegal here. But now that that's after happening, I think it's Clown-Donegal. What do you think?
Yeah.
You saw them.
Yeah, I saw Killavin, and they definitely have to improve on the last performance. They have to improve on it. And as you said, the two Nolans are gone for Kilbride. They're a huge loss to them. You know, they're a big blow to them. So, therefore, you won't like me saying it, but I go for Killavin.
Right. Okay. Is it 3 Killavins? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen a good bit of Killavin last year. I just think, geez, they have so much potential, lads. They still have some serious footballers. And one big thing for me, the last few games I've seen them, they're probably conversion rate isn't great. They'll always throw up into double figures, their wides. If they can just curtail that a small bit, they'll do really well.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, moving on to junior lads. Friday night, it was O'Loughlin and Aero. Now I'm going on the reliable Stephen Barmerick for my match report here. 4-5 Aero and 1-14 O'Loughlin. Richie Burke 3 points from play. We all thought he was a defender, huh? Still going strong. Huey Gann scored a goal, I think, for O'Loughlin. I don't know who got all the scores for Aero. I couldn't tell you, but you're looking at and you're thinking 15 scores versus 9. Is there a story in that? I don't know. But still, all that matters is O'Loughlin are gone through to a quarter final, and you know, Aero lose out there as a result, and they're dropping back. Or are they dropping back? You have a junior. Is your last team junior C or junior B? It's junior C, is it?
Junior C.
Yeah. So yeah, they are dropping back then. So yeah, like I mean, and this comes back to my little gripe, and I have one better than what I'm about to say as well, a better example. But O'Loughlin lost 2 games and drew 1 and in the quarter final. You win no game in the quarter final, right? While better that, in 2014 for Loughlin Bridge, we were in a group with Milford, St. Mullins, and Aero. In the first game, I think we were 8 points up against Milford, and they come back and bet us. I was sick. because the missus actually gone to America for the summer, and I said, no, I'm staying around. I'm playing this game. And fucking Milford bet us. And I swear to Jesus, I have a couple of regrets in life. One is not going to see Coldplay in Crow Park. It was the best concert everyone ever spoke to was ever at. And number 2 was not going to America that fucking summer, because Jesus Christ, it was actually disgraceful getting bet by Milford. Not because Milford were bad, but it was just we fucked the whole thing away. But anyway, back to the point. By the second round of fixture, St. Mullins had pulled out. And then in the third round, we played Airog and Airog best. So we won no game going into a quarter final. It gets better again. We actually drew a Ballon. I went to a replay, and the best by a point in the replay. How the fuck do you get to a quarter final out of a group without winning the game? Like, so is that is an endorsement though? Again to last week, like it's not fit for purpose. Like at least you're adopting that leash format that we spoke about. You're after winning the games, and you're justifiably in the position you should be in. Like so, it's crazy. But anyway, as you said, junior football is always unpredictable, lads. You can never tell what's going to happen, even if it's A, B, or C. But look, anyway, that means O'Loughlin are out of that. Grange and Pal, that game obviously didn't take place for obvious reasons, but we understand this. I think Grange have been given the points for that one. So on the other side, then we have, I was down in Ballinabola yesterday, and I'll balance out. I won't be overly critical of the format. I'll give it its due here, right? Because with 5 minutes to go, Loughlin Bridge were a point down against Tinryland, which meant they were going to be relegated. Then they got back level. Keane Kavanagh kicked a cracker of a 45, come out of the goal to kick it. And then at that point, they're in the quarter final. And then they get another free, probably 50 yards, another 5 yards, I'd say, roughly back from where Keane kicked it. He came up initially, and then I don't know whether the instruction came in or not, but he didn't actually take the kick. If he didn't, it went over in the semi-final. So we'll give the format a bit of credit as well, rather than staying it the whole time. I don't understand why he didn't go for it, because as it turned out, I think the whistle was blown really straight away after. Maybe there was a paranoia there, maybe there was a misunderstanding that maybe it wasn't going to be the last play. If it stays in play, they get possession and get a score, Loughlin Bridge are relegated. So maybe it's the only thing I can think of that possibly could have happened. Tinryland's second team, as we said last week, are a serious second team. Like Evan Doyle was playing, Glenn Doyle was playing, Porry Townsend, Peony Whelan. They're all in the forward line, actually, funnily enough. Kieran Larkin, wing back, like he's another medal with CBS. Mark Lawler was in the forward line as well. He's a serious footballer. I don't know how he's not playing senior. Cormac McGelly getting in the middle of the field was brilliant, actually. Serious unit of a man now, a substantial man. And just all around a solid side. And you'd be saying paper don't win that, but you're looking at that and you're thinking, I would have thought Tinryland on paper were probably the second best team in it, and they got bet by Ballon in the second round. But Tinryland kicked serious scores in the game. Serious scores. They didn't miss too many opportunities. Loughlin Bridge got off to a good start. They had Lillis kicked a couple of a couple of points. And what do you call it? Then Tinryland got a 4-2 goal, has to be said. Evan Doyle swung one off the left. They hit the crossbar and came down, and it was tucked away in the end by Glenn Doyle from close range. Just alert. Loughlin Bridge weren't alert to the ball coming off the post or off the crossbar, and you have to be awake. And that put Tinryland in the ascendancy. I think it was a 1-5 at half time. And then Loughlin Bridge got the first 3 points of the second half, and it was tit for tat after that. But obviously the draw means that they're still alive or whatever. Was not Ballon and Rathvilly. Ballon won by 6, I think, in the end it was. Let me just check that to be 100% correct, because you have the Twitter machine going here in the background.
1-9 to 8, was it?
1-9 to 8. It was 4 points in the end. So what that means then for the junior championship this weekend. Both the quarterfinals are on Saturday. 4 o'clock, both in the training centre actually. But 4 o'clock is Palatine and Loughlin Bridge, and then at 4:30, Tinryland take on O'Loughlin. So it's interesting actually. Obviously, me being a Loughlin Bridge man, next door neighbour here is John Kenny, Jamie and Tomas' older brother. So we're going to have right banter over the next few days. Like I haven't seen Pal. I can't really comment too much. I think John's playing wing back. He might or might not be there. Depends on. Might go in and give him a few clatters over the weekend to see how things go. What do you call it? But anyway, I can't really make a judgment on Palatine, but I'm going to say Loughlin Bridge because I think there's serious potential in them. They were very wasteful yesterday, wasteful last weekend too, and I think they're good enough to win this one. It depends which version of them turn up, to be quite straight about it. I think Loughlin will win that one. And then the other one, as I said, 4:30, Tinryland, O'Loughlin. Tinryland are just too strong for them, in my opinion. So I'm going Loughlin Bridge and Tinryland. So belt away.
Yeah.
I'll join them. I haven't seen Pal. I've seen their seniors twice, but their juniors, no. I haven't seen them at all.
I'll go too, Kevin. Whatever you say, I'll go with you.
You feel threatened by me, lad. I know.
Don't worry, Tommy. You can be back next week.
Huh?
Don't worry, Tommy. You can be back next week.
If Joe gets a few back off Central, I'll be able to pay for you next week, Tommy.
Joe gets a good deal in chicken breast. I'll be gone.
Yeah. I actually brought you up a chicken fillet roll. Remember after you got promoted? I missed out on that. Carlow played Antrim, remember? And
That's right.
you got promoted.
Yeah,
and I think we're in Krakow or something. And next we got back on you. I went up with a chicken fillet roll. That's actually, there's a photo of that somewhere actually. I was bringing up. Anyway, we have a text in from Stan. Stan Brennan has asked Tommy, is he want to be chatting about the League Championship?
Come on, Stan. Little flower bag.
Oh, Jesus. How many clubs were you in Leash, actually?
2.
All right, yeah. That has been greatly exaggerated over the years.
I never came back without silverware.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So little flower bag that sent that text in there knows that.
Hey, Christy, no pressure, lad. No pressure, lad.
Well, pressure's for tires, lads.
Exactly.
So, look, I will go down through the rest of the fixtures. There's plenty of, what do you call it? There's a Junior C action again this week on Wednesday night, 7:30. Tuller at home to Pal, and Nolan at home to Ballin. Loughlin Bridge at home to the Fighting Cocks in the other group. And as we said last week, the mother of all journeys, Clonmore at home to St. Mullins at 8 o'clock. That one is. Junior B quarterfinals are on this weekend too. Sunday for those, 12:30 out in Fenna. It's Bindstown and Aska, and then at 12 it's Bannerbana and Fenna. And I just want to put out there the winners of those groups actually who went straight through. So Nave 1 went through out of Group 1, and out of Group 2 we had Kildavin Igall going straight through. So that's where we're at with that. Now we get to the AOB section, and Christy threw a few curveballs in this section last week. Have we, Christy, the curveball this week?
No, you asked what's none of your business. I just brought up what was on my mind.
Well, do you know what's funny actually, right? So I met a lad during the week at the O'Loughlin game, and I won't reveal who it was, but he says, you should talk about ticket price on your podcast. I said, yeah, and you should talk about structure as well. I was like, how much of last week's episode did you listen to? Well, I have a half an hour left. I was like, well, you fucking may listen to it because that's been covered. And we used to get the whole time when I worked on the radio, I'd be like, oh, no, you didn't cover that. I was like, we did. You just weren't fucking tuned in. They catch lads out fairly quickly. That lad knows who he is, and maybe he's watching tonight. But no, other than that, lads, I don't have too much more to add to it unless you do. Any observations at all?
No, I'm happy.
No.
All right, that concludes the meeting. We'll have another EGM next Monday. No, that's where it's at. Look, we just wish all the teams best luck over the weekend. We'll try to get to as many of these games as possible. Yeah. And as always, you can get in touch with us, lads, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are at the Left Wing Back. And as you said, we are looking for a sponsor as well. It's not big money. It's just to pay for Tommy and Christy's wages. Now, Stan told me he's actually fairly expensive, Tommy, now. But that could be a vicious rumour as well.
And disappointed Stan never asked me to do caddy from there, like, you know, with that foot golf.
Oh, yeah. And fairness, though, he's doing all right, isn't he?
Yeah, sure. He's just little flower bag. He's always good to, you know, popping balls into the back of the net. You know.
He can have the right reply on the podcast anytime he wants, but you know what? Then it actually will be an Air Road podcast featuring a Jinnit. So, and that's the Jinnit is me, no, not Stan.
When will you be doing an interview with him?
Oh, I don't know. She'll have to do a big feature. I don't know when he's out again.
It'll have to be a big feature for him because he's a lot to get off his little pigeon chest. He's a lot to get off it.
Yeah, well, he's actually getting a bit off it tonight anyway. You were getting off of you, sir, the last few weeks. You want to start clattering into lads now?
I don't mind. I'm like that film, the quiet man.
Yeah, we one actually message we didn't get to earlier from this fella again. He says, tell Tommy to Tom about O'Loughlin, the best team won. Simple as that. That's the Bowser dial.
Oh, God, bless him. Terrible.
You had a whole week now to think about abusing this fella back. Did you
No, I'm not going to waste any pressure on that, lad.
No game plan.
No.
Right, lads. Look, we'll leave it at that. Thank John Nolan who joined us earlier, and Christy and Tommy. Pleasure as always. Thanks a million, lads. We'll chat to you soon, all right?
All right, Kev.
Adios.